Glad that everyone's able to join me here today for the our latest webinar here for the month of October 2025. And today we're going to be talking all about an AEO and it really what it is. It's the new SEO. You know, we want to talk really about not just what AEO is, but really how it impacts those in the home services space and specifically how it impacts kitchen and bathroom remodeling contractors, home remodelers, cabinet builders, and the like. Basically, anyone who's associated with helping somebody improve the look and the feel of their kitchen or their bathroom. So what we're going to do today is we're really going to cover kind of this paradigm shift that's happening from SEO, from search engine optimization to AEO, answer engine optimization, or GEO, generative engine optimization. A lot of people have called it up to now. And what we're going to talk about really is how consumer behavior is evolving, how we're changing the way that we actually search online, what we search for, how we search, the words we use, the type of searches that we do, and really what the impact of this new way of searching is on local businesses specifically. We're going to talk a little bit about how in the past, people would be searching simply by a couple of keywords, and now they're using full thought out sentences, paragraphs, just telling their life story, what their problem is, and asking ChatGPT, asking Perplexity, Copilot, Grok, Claude, whatever LLM your choice is. How do I solve my problem? And finally, I'm going to really get into what are some of the key strategies that you can use to actually solve for this and how you can become cited, how you can become the most well-known in your area so that when those AI overviews pop up, your company actually gets cited and not your direct competitor. So let's start this whole thing off by, why you should listen to me. Who the heck am I? Who's Mike Goldstein? Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am the CEO of Kitchen Remodeling SEO. We are a digital marketing agency that specializes in working with kitchen and bathroom remodeling contractors, helping them improve their presence online and growing their business through implementation of emerging technologies, as well as cutting edge digital marketing strategies. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I actually have been the featured marketing speaker at KBIS a couple of times. As a matter of fact, coming up next February, I'm going to be giving a 1-hour workshop in Orlando, all about how to get found in AI. So yeah, I might know a few things about this, but really the reason to listen to me simply is because we're all here, and what I really want to do, honestly, is have more of a discussion than a lecture. So because I can learn as much from you guys and what you're seeing, what you're doing is you can learn from me what I know is working today and where I've seen our clients succeed. And we put in a search, for example, who should I hire in San Jose, California to remodel my kitchen? Or who's the best kitchen remodeler in Fort Lauderdale? And if one of my clients pops up, I can show you how we made that happen and how you can do it for yourself. It's enough about me now. I kind of come off kind of narcissistic. I don't like that. Let's talk about why you're all here. Why does AEO matter? Answer engine optimization. And the reality is, it matters because of that paradigm shift that I talked about a minute ago. It matters because people have a need for an answer right now, and we need to be able to help people find answers to their questions in real time without making it too difficult for them. In the past, SEO would be something where you would put in some sort of search into Google, and really you were limited to Google because they were the 800-pound gorilla. Well, there's still a big giant gorilla, but Google now is the 400-pound gorilla, right? You've got a lot of other players in the market. AEO matters because ChatGPT is taking a massive market share. Perplexity is the new up-and-coming kid, and it crawls websites better than anything. Grok, which is the Twitter derivative of the AI. You have Microsoft's Copilot app. You have Claude, which is an Anthropic program. You've got Manus. You've got all these different programs that are out there that people are going to and asking questions, and they're looking for that instant gratification. Essentially what has happened is consumers are using voice search and AI assistants just way more than ever. So yeah, they're typing it in, but really the easiest thing to do is you pick up your phone and you just, hey, ChatGPT, what is whatever, or hey Alexa, who should I hire to remodel my kitchen? You know, hey Siri, who's the best cabinet store in Miami, Florida? And all these things. And people now are talking to their phones, they're talking to their voice assistants, and they're asking questions. And the thing that you want to remember is this: in the past, people were typing. So when you're typing, you're slower, and it's going to be a couple words. Best kitchen remodeler near me, maybe if you were lucky. That was a good search term, and that would bring up a map tab results. And by the way, those are still important. People are still going, getting those map results. But now people are talking. And when you talk, you've got to think about, how is my content structured? Is it answering the question that someone is actually speaking? Now the question might be, I'm considering remodeling my kitchen and I can't decide between granite and quartz countertops. Which one should I pick? And does it matter if the color matches my cabinets? Well, there's a whole mouthful. Nobody ever typed that before, but they're doing that now. So that's really important. The other thing to keep in mind is looking at the gorilla in the room, Google, and its AI overviews. Google is, it favors featured snippets and zero-click searches. So, for example, somebody might, ask the question to Google, are shaker cabinets going to be going out of style in 2026? Or are shaker cabinets going out of style even in Glendale, California, for that matter? It might be at a time frame, it might be a location, whatnot. And then Google's going to give an answer. And the idea now is to create the zero-click atmosphere where the average person doesn't have to click on those 10 blue links down below. What Google is going to do is it's going to give you an answer, and it's going to cite 5 or 6 different websites. And you can see, in the screenshot here on the right-hand side, you've got the RTA cabinet store, and you got a few others. And when you click on those little links in the actual AI answer, it's going to show you where Google found the information. So it's really important that you create your content in a way that's citable by Google. And it's important that you are trustworthy to Google, that you're authoritative, so that Google thinks that you are the most relevant answer. Listen, we're still in the world where Google only wants to provide the most relevant answer. Quite frankly, they don't make money from AI search results. They make money from selling ads. And no one is, and no one's going to buy ads from Google if people aren't, going to Google by the millions and millions. So because of that, Google still needs to provide, and they're giving that value up front with the AI results, but the goal is still to drive ads. I think the bigger question I would ask all of you is, where do you think we're heading? Don't you think that Google ads are going to start to appear in these AI search results? Don't you think that eventually we're going to be able to buy our way in? I think we are. But I also think that part of buying your way in is going to be, you're still going to have content structured in a certain way. And there's going to be a new algorithm. And when that comes out, listen, come on back. We'll have another webinar. We'll talk all about that. I'll bring my buddy Josh Wheeler, who is one of the foremost experts in pay-per-click on the planet Earth today, and we'll have him talk to you guys about it. But for now, this is all about AEO. This is about organic results. And like I said, Google wants to have that zero click. They don't want to send people to your website. And the reason for that is that the average consumer is looking for instant gratification today. They're not looking for an answer by getting a list of 10 websites and then having to click on each and every website and going through the sites and scrolling down, 800, 900, maybe 2,000 words into an article to find the answer. They just want it served up on a silver platter. And that's what the zero click is all about. So businesses that answer these questions effectively are going to get more visibility, and they're going to get more leads. And that's the thing. Think about, how is someone going to ask a question? And think about those long tail questions. Now this is where we start using data to drive the way that we write. So there are certain websites out there that you need to know about. There's sites like alsoasks.com. There's sites like answerthepublic.com. There are tools where you can go in and you can kind of figure out what are the questions that Google, that ChatGPT, that Grok, that Copilot, whatever it might be, connects to the main point. And then you find out what those are and write content around those questions. Structure content in a way that the title is question and then answer right away. And then you get into your content and you can start creating links and all the other stuff that you would normally do for SEO. But you've got to answer something very quickly so that Google sees it, because who's going to prioritize, and ChatGPT is going to prioritize the content at the top of the page, not the content that's 17 paragraphs in. So really, what we're talking about here is simply people changing their online search behavior. Like I said, old style was, cabinet installer near me. The new style is going to be, what's the best cabinet for an outdoor kitchen in Tampa, Florida? Or, I live in a dry climate in Phoenix, Arizona. Is there a particular type of countertop stone that I should be using instead of others? Things like that are going to get more searches. Those are where the featured snippets are going to come in. And this is where, like I said, the voice search results are so important. They are replacing traditional rankings for sure. And the thing that you got to remember is sometimes in those AI results, they're gonna be 10, 12, maybe even 20 websites that are cited if there's enough websites that are relevant to what the question was. Then you're going to see the Google ads under that. Then you're going to see those map results. Again, those map results are so important. Then you're finally going to get into the SEO results. Now, listen, the name of my company is Kitchen Remodeling SEO. I was brought up on SEO. I'm a big proponent of SEO. Quite frankly, I think I do a pretty good job with SEO. And I'm telling you, SEO is not dead, but SEO is evolving. And those organic results, I don't think those are going to be like page 2. Even though they're on page 1, they're not going to be considered page 1 anymore, because you've got to get through the AI overview. You've got to get through the ads. We got to get through the map results. And then we finally get to them. So that's why this is just so gosh darn important. So really, that's why we're trying to think about how AEO differs from SEO. But we're thinking about the A part of it. It all comes down to answers. Answer the gosh darn question. And before you can answer it, you got to figure out what is the question that people are asking. So, think about SEO and AEO in a different way. Maybe if we look at it, SEO always focused on ranking web pages using keywords. We optimize for search engines specifically. We would create all kinds of these ridiculously long blog content. We would try and talk about every conceivable aspect. And we used AI recently to write all that content. We would internally link our content together. We would go and buy guest blog posts. We'd buy link insertions. We'd do press releases. We'd do all this stuff that was meant specifically for the Google algorithm. Well, AEO, it simplifies it all. It focuses on delivering instant answers and optimizing for specific questions. So your content has become so much more important. But a lot of people are going to say, okay, great. I'm just going to go to ChatGPT. I'm going to look, I'm going to have it write me 75 articles about something. Oh, because what's going to happen is, your content is going to look like everybody else's content if you don't take what you get out of ChatGPT, take what you get out of Claude, and then localize it, and then make it specific to your voice. And we can have another webinar where we talk about the perfect prompt and how you write it in a specific voice, a specific tone, and all that. But it's also, the AI doesn't think about how to structure content. It doesn't think about all the different things that now you do on your page, like adding structured data, which is called scheme, talking about how your brand awareness actually is a ranking factor. The more you get your company gets mentioned, the more the author who wrote the piece gets mentioned. And that's a big piece. Now it's so important to connect a human being to the content, not a faceless brand, no matter how big that brand might be. So these are all things that you really need to consider. When we're dealing with optimizing for AEO. So the business impact of AEO and of GEO and AIO, whatever you want to call it, and that's just getting found by AI search. That's what I say, right? Is number one, you've got to own that position seal, right? So if you're seeing time and time again for all the different variations of the question, then your brand is going to be known, and people are going to click on the link and they're going to go to your site, or at best, at worst, they're going to notice who wrote the code, where the content came from. And they're going to do a branded search. And now SEO does come into play. And they're going to look at, ABC Kitchens in Phoenix, Arizona, who wrote it. Are they gonna see, it was Current Cabinetry in Baltimore, Maryland, who wrote about why white sugar cabinets are still gonna be trending or whatever it might be, right? And when they do that, that is going to generate those leads. This is what you care about. How do I get people to actually buy my stuff? How do I get people to want to hire me? Well, I'll tell you what, if I ask the question, who should I hire to remodel my kitchen, in Austin, Texas, and Catalyst Construction is the answer, then I'm gonna go to Google and I'm going to search Catalyst, or I'm in ChatGPT and say, okay, who in Catalyst Construction should I talk to? And it's going to give me the name of Catalyst Construction's owner. It's going to give me the phone number. And this is why becoming the trusted local expert is just so important in this new world of AEO. So when we're thinking about AEO strategies for kitchen remodeling, cabinetry companies, it's a little bit different than maybe thinking about it for a law firm, thinking about it for a restaurant or something like that, right? We want to think about first of all, we want to write questions that our target audience are asking. So let's start off right then. If there's a question that you think is very specific to a renter, and a renter doesn't have authority to do kitchen remodeling in the home they're in, I don't want to answer. I don't want to even try and go down that path. I also want to think about how is it that people ask questions. So they're not, they're with a restaurant, it might be, should I, who has pineapple pizza and, who's got the spiciest pepperoni in the area, something like that. With kitchen remodeling, it's going to be, more about who should I hire, who is the best at a specific, or what type of countertop material, what type, should I reface or replace my cabinets? All these things that aren't necessarily commercial intent, but will ultimately lead to commercial intent. And you need to start thinking about attracting people at the top of the funnel. So let's first talk about how am I going to optimize for featured snippets, right? So like we've been talking about, you need to kind of know what the question is, and then you need to answer the question at the very top. Don't give background information. Don't give marketing for by God. Don't start with my grandfather was a remodeler and his father before him was a home builder. And because of that, I grew up seeing what great craftsmanship. Nobody cares. Nobody. And I mean, no one cares what your dad or your granddad did, right? What they care about is who should I hire to fix my home, right? That's it. So answer the question and answer it simply. The third piece that we're looking at is we need to enhance local SEO for voice search. So think about the long tail question. Think about how someone might ask in a full paragraph, right? And then finally, let's get into, this is something a little bit more than you might be able to do right away, is you need to add the right programming to your web pages. So there's something called schema, or structured data. And this is a way where we can actually better classify and categorize what the page is about, what the site is about. So there's FAQ schema, there's how-to schema, there's data set schema. There's all these different types of schema that tells Google what it is. And you'll note, like when you look at this screenshot and you see the ratings on the bottom of this snippet, and you see these images, that comes from schema, not from the web page itself. So you need to make sure you have that and you've coded it properly. I can tell you, yeah, it is coding. It's not that hard, especially if you have access to an AI program like a ChatGPT, like a Copilot, like a Claude. Just go in and say, I want you to act like an expert AEO programmer today. I'm writing a piece of content about white shaker cabinets. The website is at abc.com. The image path that I'm using to my featured image is this. Based on that, I want you to go review my webpage and tell me what type of schema I need, and then write the schema code for me and tell me how do I inject it into my code. And it will give you step-by-step instructions. Now, if it's too much and you just can't figure out, or you don't know how to get into the back end of your WordPress site or your Wix site or whatnot, reach out to your web developer. They'll be able to help you out very easily. So we kind of got into all of the basics. Now let's talk a little about some more advanced, maybe some trickier pieces, like leveraging AI chatbots. So one of the things that that can happen here is that you can actually now see what's happening in terms of what's on the page. These bots can see the chatbots, they can see the type of questions the chatbots are asking, and they can even engage with your chatbots. I have seen situations where we have two AIs talking to each other. It's kind of like the old joke where you take two cell phones, you put them next to each other, dial two people, and let them have a conversation, and you just sit back and watch them laugh. So same thing can happen here. And the stronger that your chatbot is, the more the chatbot knows, the more that the AI programs, the LLM programs think that your website is that much more relevant. It's more community engaged. So these are some of the things that you really want to think about. On top of the fact that having a great chatbot with a great AI system is going to help those conversions, because it's all well and good to drive people to your site, but it doesn't do you any good if I drive 1 million people to my site and 999,000 of them leave within 5 seconds. And, I'm only as good as the conversations I have. And these chatbots are a great way to start the conversation. So we've talked a little about what you need to do, how you do it. Let's talk kind of about the future of search in AEO. Where are we going from here? So the first thing I would say is that, more searches are going to be conducted via voice assistant than ever before. We know that. That's a given. All right. We know that everyone has got an Alexa in just about every room of their house. Everyone's got Siri on them. I've got a 15-year-old nephew walking around Disney with him this summer. And I swear, the only thing this child did was talk to his darn phone the whole time. And he was talking to ChatGPT, having a conversation with it. So we need to really think about these voice searches, and we need to optimize for voice search more than written search. We need to optimize for voice search more than video search. Video search is important too. But really think about that. Now, AI is going to be, it's going to play a greater role in determining search results for sure. So we want to, when we're writing blog content, let's make sure we're doing question answer format, not statement. What I always like to say to my clients is, I want to answer the questions that your customers have. I don't want to tell your customers what you think they need to know. And if you think about that simple statement there is, think about the common questions you're getting asked every single day. And that's how the content you need to start writing about. And quite frankly, businesses that adapt early are simply going to dominate this market. And I've got to tell you, you're not going to lose business to AI. What you're going to do is you're going to lose business to people who know how to use AI better than you do. And that's pretty straightforward. I don't think I can make that any clearer than that. So let's talk a little bit. What have we covered here? We have talked about the shift from traditional SEO to answer engine optimization. We've talked about how consumer search behavior is evolving with voice and with AI. Kind of talked a little bit about how AEO is crucial now for local visibility, for lead generation. It's even more important, I would suggest, than Google ads and LSA ads, local service ads, and the map results, because it comes at the top of the page. And we've talked a little bit about some of the key strategies to optimize your kitchen remodeling, your cabinetry business, like figuring out the question, answer the question up front, then get into the article. Make sure you have structured data. Make sure that you're getting positive sentiment in the AIs, that you're getting brand mentions. These are all the things that are really going to come into play. By the way, little tip, we haven't really talked about it, but just a side note is one of the best ways to get positive mentions in, all over the place is to get press releases, because press releases come from authoritative sources. It's not something you can just post without any editorial review. It can't be salesy. It can't be, it can't be soliciting anything really. So that's a really great deal that you have with press releases. And honestly, it works really great for SEO as well. It works really good to help you with your map results and all of it. So with all that said, let's kind of take a step back, and I just want to see, are there any questions here? Oh, okay. That's actually interesting. So Rachel actually just, I like that question. So Rachel wants to know, is there a particular writer, an AI writer, that I recommend? So, Rachel, it's interesting you say that because I'm gonna kind of give you an answer I don't think you're expecting, especially from a topic on AI. There is no good AI. Anytime you use an AI program to write your content, you cannot just take it verbatim and paste it onto a web page. First of all, it's all going to sound the same as everybody else because there's no differentiation. It's not about the writer that you're using. It's about the prompting sequence. So let's talk about how would I prompt an AI program. And again, I don't think it matters if you use ChatGPT, if you use Claude, if you use Jasper, whatever you want to use, it's fine. Start with tell it who you want to act. I want you to act like an expert copywriter who works with home service companies in marketing their business. Number two, I want you to give it some background information. I want you to look at the following 10 articles that I wrote in the past, and I want you, based on that, to understand my tone and my delivery style. Number three, I want you to determine who I'm writing for. So let's just presume I'm writing for homeowners in Peabody, Massachusetts. I want you to think of a homeowner in Peabody, Massachusetts who might be thinking about remodeling their kitchen. I want you to create an empathy map for that person and tell me all of their internal and external concerns that they may have and what the decision-making process is. Okay, now you're giving the AI all kinds of information about how you write. You've given it information about the audience. You've told it kind of who you want it to act like. Now we primed it. So now I want you, with all this information you have, I want you to write an article about XYZ, whatever it might be. And here's a little tip just to make it a little bit better. Before you start with whatever engineer or whatever way you're using, first go to perplexity.com, .ai, excuse me, no .com, perplexity.ai. And then what I want you to do is just ask it, are there any recent statistics or case studies on whatever the subject matter is? It's going to crawl the internet and it's going to find you that information. It's going to give you the citations where it got that information. This is why AEO is important. Copy all of that, paste it into your AI writer and say, but before you start writing, I want you to consider these relevant and recent facts, as well as the citations of where it came from. And then before you write anything for me, do you have any clarifying questions? And it's going to ask clarifying questions. Answer those questions. Now generate the content. So you can see what we've done is we've trained it on the market. We've trained it on who we want it to be. We've trained it on how we write, all of that. And if you really want to go the extra step on this, also, what I like to do is after it generates it, I said, this is a good start. Now I want you to update this and write it in the voice of, and I like to pick like some comedian. I don't care if it's John Mulaney. It could be Bill Burr. Probably not. It could be Jim Gaffigan. It could be Tom Segura. Whatever comedian you happen to like, because they are a very human, humanized way of speaking to people, right? So when the AI starts thinking about the way they speak, it's going to make your content sound less like a machine wrote it and that's kind of how I would go about it. And that's a very long-winded way of Rachel answering your question and saying it doesn't matter which AI writing you use. It matters how you do it. Other question. Oh, all right. So Dave is asking, how much should your marketing budget be to optimize for AEO? That is just such a loaded question. There really is no good way to answer that other than I would say your budget needs to reflect what you're trying to accomplish. It needs to determine how many areas you want to go into. Dave, what I would tell you is if you look up, AEO agencies or kitchen remodeling AEO agencies, who's the best marketing agency for kitchen, bathroom, all this stuff like that. Talk to 10, 15 of these people, and you'll get a good sense. Anything else? Oh, all right. So we don't have no other questions. This was we run this webinar right there. I usually have a lot of other questions. So of a deal. All right. Well, I hope you guys found a ton of value in this today. Just so you know, we want to kind of promote our next workshop. So we're taking the AI aspect and really moving this forward to business growth. So next month, on October 3rd, 2025 at 5 p.m. EST, 2 p.m. Pacific, we are going to be talking about how to set up marketing automation and how to use AI to communicate after the lead comes in so that you constantly stay in front of somebody so you make sure people don't miss appointments with you. That should be a really great webinar. Hope all of you guys come back for that. So now let's talk about the good stuff, the free stuff. I told everyone who joined when we called you before today in our advertising, there was going to be something really cool and free at the end of it. Here's the deal. A few years back, I wrote the book, The Kitchen Remodelers Guide to Local SEO and Google Maps. It's available for $15 on Amazon.com right now. It is known as the #1 book for anyone looking to rank in the maps in the kitchen and bath remodeling industry. If you scan the QR code on the screen, you will get the complete PDF of this book with everything inside it, all the checklists, all the goodies, totally free. And if you can't scan it for whatever reason, head on over to kitchenremodeling.seo.com/ebook and you can download this. No $15 requirement. You do not have to put your name, your phone, your email in. None of that. There's no login. There's no forms to fill out. This is just going to take you right to the PDF. So if you found this useful, I really appreciate it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel where we put out content like this all the time. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on TikTok. If you want to have a conversation, I would love to chat with you about AEO, about SEO, about anything really business growth related. You can always reach me at any of our handles. Check us out at kitchenremodeling.seo.com. Give me a call, 339-645-9461. Shoot me an email. I'm super easy to find. Again, my name is Mike Goldstein. I'm the founder of Kitchen Remodeling SEO. Hope you found this helpful and look forward to seeing you guys again next time. All right.